you're okay, but can you see me? I don't know if you can see me. Can they show you my video?
Yes, yes. Actually,
I think yeah, he has to keep it on video. A photo is only visible, but not the video.
Well, okay, that's fine.
Ashok was writing just now about this man. Okay.
This is my profile video, but
yeah, you can. Yeah.
you can see again.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got to chat later. So now I'll let you go because you got an important talk coming up. But God bless you. You look okay. How do I look? வயசு என்ன தெரியுமா எனக்கு? What's my age?
Oh, தெரியும். நான் உங்க 80th பர்த்டேக்கு வந்திருந்தேன்.
ஆமா இப்போ. I crossed 89. God bless you. Okay.
Oh God, you might have met my nephew Ashok Vasudevan. He was writing about you from Singapore.
Okay, but I think he is my. Okay, we got to chat a lot because he is my daughter's student. Doctor Prabhakar, doctor. Yeah. Anyway, family and we go back about 60 years, sir. Thank you everybody for giving me a chance to greet him. So
Thank you, sir.
Get in touch with me. You know my email.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I'll be listening to you. Be careful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Professor. We'll start the program now. Yeah, we'll start the program. I kindly request all of you to mute. Good evening to all of you. At the outset, I welcome the chief guest of today's program, Professor Anantha Ramaswamy. He is the chairman, Department of Civil Engineering, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Thank you, sir, for taking your time off and being a part of this program. I welcome you, sir.
For inviting me.
Now I welcome our President, Indian Geotechnical Society, Professor G. Shivakumar Babu. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor.
I welcome our speaker of today's program, Professor V.S. Chandrasekharan. Thank you very much, sir. I welcome all the chapter members who are present here and all the participants who have taken time off and joined this program. I will just say a few words about Professor T.S. Nagaraj. Professor T.S. Nagaraj was born to Dr. T.N. Sitaramaya and Srimati Sarojamma in Mysore on 3rd November 1936. He received the degree of Bachelor of Engineering from University of Mysore in 1959 and degrees of Masters of Engineering in 1960 and PhD in 1967 from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He was awarded the prestigious degree DSc from IISc for his contribution in research in the year 1992. Professor Nagaraj joined IISc as a research scholar in 1961 and continued in various positions. He was elevated to the full professor in 1984 and was the chairman of the Department of Civil Engineering in 1987. He formally retired from IISc in 1997. Professor Nagaraj was an adjunct professor at University of Massachusetts, Amherst, USA for about 4 years. He made significant contributions in the development of basic framework for analysis and assessment of soil behavior and proportioning of concrete mixes. The approaches developed are innovative, ingenious, and simple to use in engineering practice. These are timely contributions when fast-track development of infrastructure is inevitable. Professor Nagaraj supervised about 17 PhDs and authored 3 textbooks and about 300 technical papers, of which 160 are in referred journals. Professor T.S. Nagaraj served as the visiting professor in a number of foreign universities. He delivered lectures in more than 25 universities and R&D establishments in various parts of the world. Professor Nagaraj was confirmed with a number of awards, including the IGS Kukelman Award in 1991, CBIP Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Birth Centenary Research Award in 1992. He was the annual lecturer of the Indian Geotechnical Society in 1993. He was elected Fellow of Indian National Academy of Engineering, Fellow of Institution of Engineers India, Honorary Fellow of Elected Member of Executive Committee of Indian Geotechnical Society, New Delhi. Madam Nalini Nagraj, his wife, who is also here. Namaskaramma, good evening to you, welcome. And two daughters, Ms. Jyoti Nagraj and Aarti Srinivas, are also present here in this program, and their families. Yeah. Remind us, all of us, of Professor Nagraj, who was a very simple, extraordinarily organized and innovative academician, researcher, and a consultant in addition to being an excellent human being. Today we have the lecture delivered by Professor V.S. Chandrasekharan, the 16th series in memory of our beloved Professor T.S. Nagraj. Now, I request Professor Ananta Ramaswamy, the chief guest of today's program, to say a few words. Over to you, Professor. Professor Anant? I think he has exited. So before he joins back, may I request Professor Shivkumar Babu to say a few words, our President, Indian Geotechnical Society. Over to you, Professor Babu.
At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to be here. Though I'm the president of the Indian Geotechnical Society, I must say that I'm the student of Professor T.S. Nagraj. First and foremost, when I joined Indian Institute of Science, and he is the first person whom I met along with Professor Pandian, and we worked a lot together. And it has been a very fascinating experience and journey with him, as Dr. Partha pointed out. His approach to bringing in simple methods of calculations and understanding analysis, particularly in soil behavior as well as in concrete, are amazing. And even now, people inquire about his simple methods. In fact, there are some works by Professor Burland. In fact, that he referred in his Rankin lecture about Professor T.S. Nagraj's work. In fact, since we are not there in UK, maybe we are not popular, but then, I think the simplicity is always a hallmark. Maybe that's what Professor Burland could recognize. And there are many, in fact, I also know his friends from the Massachusetts, that institute where I visited some time back. He was always striving for, excellence, and he's so systematic in his approach that the whether the assembly of literature that he collects is always amazing, and he was a role model to many of the researchers. And I think it's only in the fitness of the things that we have his lecture today, and we have a wonderful, another brilliant professor, V.S. Chandrasekharan, who is going to address. Thank you very much. So I'd like to, thank you, Professor Partha, for this opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor. I think there's some network issue at IISc. Our chief guest has logged off. So now I request our young chapter colleague Amala to introduce the speaker before I try to get back our chief guest. Amala, over to you. Please introduce the speaker to the participants.
Yeah, I'm audible, right?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So good afternoon all. I'm so happy and delighted today to introduce such a great personality like Professor, our speaker today. He's a great inspiration for all the civil engineers like across the globe. In fact, I personally had an opportunity to work with him. That was a very good experience, and he was so supportive. So just to give a background about our speaker, Professor V.S. Chandrasekharan. Professor V.S. Chandrasekharan obtained his BE in Civil Engineering from NIE Mysore, MSc Engineering from University of Madras, and PhD from University of Liverpool, UK. Organization from 1963 to 66, and as a faculty member at IIT Bombay from 1966 to 2003, from where he retired from office. He served IIT Bombay in several capacities as Professor, HOD of Civil Engineering, and Dean of Planning. His field of interest is geotechnical engineering. He is a passionate teacher and is a recipient of IIT Bombay's Excellence in Teaching Award. IIT Bombay honored him with the title Professor Emeritus and also conferred on him the Lifetime Achievement Award. He has authored a number of research papers in reputed journals and conferences and guided several doctoral and master's scholars at IIT Bombay. Many of his contributions have been recognized by the Indian Geotechnical Society by way of awards. He has delivered the IGS annual lecture. He is a recipient of IGS Honorary Fellowship, IGS Kuckelman Award, and Wasvik Award. He has also delivered BK Ramaya Memorial Lecture. Several premier national organizations have benefited by his professional expertise. In addition to his interest in numerical modeling, he evinced keen interest in laboratory development. A small size geotechnical centrifuge set up by him attracted a number of research students to carry out simulated model studies for their research work. This experience inspired him to aim for a large size geotechnical centrifuge facility at IIT Bombay. This was achieved through a sponsored project funded by DST, DRDO, and MHRD to the tune of INR 6 crores. The 250 G-ton 4.5-meter radius state-of-the-art centrifuge is a landmark experimental facility in our country, indigenously designed and fabricated, and one of the larger facilities in the world. The national facility is now being extensively used. He is a founding partner of Geotechnical Engineering Modeling Software GEMS, GEMS. So, on behalf of IGS Bengaluru chapter and all the participants, I invite you, I welcome you to this today's lecture, sir.
Thank you, Amla. Before we hand over the session to the speaker, now I invite Professor Anant Ramasamy, the chief guest of today's program, to say a few words. Over to you, Professor.
Sorry, I've been having internet connectivity issues, so I disappeared for a few minutes.
Yes,
I
sir.
take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this program. Hopefully, when social distancing is removed and we can be more proximal, you will have an opportunity to visit IISc as you have been doing in earlier years, and we can continue our strong association. My hello to all my colleagues, both current and former, and all of you who are part of IGS. So I welcome Professor Chandrasekaran, and I hope to hear a nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. So we will hand over the session to the speaker, Professor Chandrasekaran. Over to you, sir. You can kindly share the presentation. Share screen. Click the share screen and click on your PPT, sir.
The host is disabled. It says host disabled.
You check, now check.
Okay.
You can kindly go to the presentation mode, please. Yeah, over to you, Professor. You can start the presentation.
Distinguished audience, I am deeply honored to be invited to present this T.S. Nagaraj Memorial Lecture of Indian Geotechnical Society, Bengaluru chapter. And most importantly, Professor Nagaraj was my senior in the National Institute of Engineering. And was a good friend of mine. And he visited IIT Bombay on a number of occasions. And many times he answered the questions. He had a very special model of particulate soil mechanics, which had a commonality with concrete also. So he used to present it passionately and we used to love his speeches. But he will also very patiently reply to our queries and all. He delivered in IIT 3 or 4 lectures, and we always admired him. We know him as a great academician. I am also honored today by the presence of my very senior professor, Professor N. Krishnamurthy from Singapore, who has joined, and it was a rare privilege to see him. And also, I am also honored by the presence of the various distinguished delegates, and also Nalini Nagaraj was kind enough. And I also thank the committee for having invited me to deliver this lecture. With that, my topic today is laterally loaded piles and sheet piles, numerical and centrifuge modeling. And this topic, I have been interested in numerical methods in the earlier part of my career. Then I thought that this is not the end of that, and then they should be properly modeled, and then followed the centrifuge modeling approach. And of course, we built a small centrifuge in IIT Bombay, and then a huge, bigger centrifuge, in which is working today. And I'm happy to report that it is going to be equipped with the earthquake shaker also in the next year or so. Now, coming to the topic, any engineering depends on modeling. And finally, the mathematical models have become very popular. And because we have what you call the present generation is a computer-driven generation. And we have a closed form solution mathematical models. And they are also a numerical solution. There are a lot of models of simulation, what you call discrete model, lumped model, continuum models, and various other models. But the models which have survived in geotechnical engineering over the years are the mathematical models and the physical models. And of course, there is always in situ verification of all these models. Now, the physical models in geotechnical engineering can be carried out at a 1G environment or also in an NG environment. Some models are famous for 1G environment and that are simpler to do, but not all modeling can be done in 1G environment. And we have to resort to NG modeling in a centrifuge in a good equipment where you have a simulation of practical models. Now there is also an analog models in which differential equations, mathematical equations are simulated by analog techniques such as the electrical analogy to model the seepage flow in soil mechanics, and also the capacitor circuit, viscous flow models, photoelastic analysis and structural analysis. And also there are so many other models which are analog models. And all of them have given place to these numerical models, because numerical models are more easy to do in present day environment with the advancement of finite differences and finite element methods, which have modeled practically everything. Even the wind tunnels in aeronautical engineering have recent times have been, most of the experiments have been replaced by computer-aided fluid mechanics, fluid modeling. And it is even aeronautical studies in wind tunnels have been replaced by mathematical models. But it is simply a model. It is not the actual phenomena, actual structure we are going to build in the site. It's a model, and the model has to be verified either by the field experiments or by some model, simulated models, such as physical models. Now, my talk is about these mathematical and physical models. Now, the causes of lateral loading, which is the main topic, is one of the wind forces, earthquake forces, waves, berthing forces, mooring forces in harbors or in offshore structures, the cable tension in towers, earth pressures, etc. Now today, I will talk about the lateral loading caused by the first on structural piles. Second, lateral loading caused by nature itself, because the earth pressure is also a lateral loading, and it doesn't need an external load to be shown, applied. Now, see, we are always surprised by the advancement of construction. Yes, the 3.5 megawatt offshore windmill, which is quite popular in the European and in English environment. The offshore wind turbine has 90-meter tower height and can generate 3.5 megawatts, and the lateral load is 4 megatons. Each megaton is about 100 tons. It will be about 600 tons, 400 tons. Now the problem here is the vertical load is very small, but that is about only 600 tons. Now 600 tons of vertical load and 400 tons of lateral loading, it really becomes a structure, really asking for a very good lateral support. They use monopiles, they use tripods, and to anchor the structure so that the windmill can operate with efficiently for throughout the year. Now in lateral loaded piles, the applied load is a load which is applied to the pile in the horizontal direction, and it may be accompanied by a big moment. Now, the problem in geotechnical engineering is essentially of predicting the deflection of the pile and also the bending moment. The deflection of the pile governs the serviceability of the structure, and the bending moment is critical for ensuring the structural safety of the pile. Now, this is a concentrated solar power tower plant of 140 meter high. All these are mirrors which are reflecting sun rays to the receiver at the top of the tower. This tower is subjected to large amount of lateral load, and the stability of the tower carrying the receiver is quite an important in the solar technology. Now, what do we mean by the design of a structure? It should be safe against collapse. That is not the end of itself. Finally, it should serve this structural performance requirements, and it should not impair the functioning of the structure in any way. Now that is, we have to find models which can ensure that serviceability as well as the safe collapse of the structure. Now in piles, we can classify them in a simplistic way as short piles and long piles. Short piles are of length to diameter of about 15 and less, and long piles are something which is more flexible. That means flexible means that the structure is flexible with respect to the soil. Now, the pile under lateral load, the pressure distribution on the pile is, the top of the pile is given soil resistance is in the form of, and the soil fails in the form of a wedge. And the bottom of the pile, the soil fails by a ploughing mechanism by the lateral flow. The soil flows laterally like a bearing capacity problem in the vertical direction. This lateral pile, at greater depths, it is the lateral flow which governs. At the shallow depths, it is the wedge mechanism which operates. Now there are the mode of failure of short piles is about the pile deflects as a rigid body, and the soil exerts a pressure on a P1 and a P2. And the pile actually rotates about the point which is somewhere in the length of the pile. Now, assuming that the base is not a big area and the base doesn't have a support by horizontal shear and also a rotational spring, but the pile actually fails by a pivot. There is a pivot along the length of the pile, and there are two pressures, P1 and P2. And you can set up the equations of equilibrium and also solve for this point of rotation. Now that will help you to calculate ultimate load which can be applied on the pile. Now there are recommendations for this lateral resistance. Now there are two recommendations which are quite quoted in the textbooks. One is the Brahms recommendation, which says the linear pressure, the pressure is linear, with a slope of 3 kp into gamma z into d. Another is, it is k square p gamma z into d. Both these diagrams are good in some very short piles, but as the pile goes along, the mechanism is not properly modeled. The top wedge mechanism gives a higher pressure, and the bottom ploughing mechanism gives a lower pressure. So this model requires a lot of modifications. And there is a code which is given by API model for sand, which is for shallow, which is different, which is C1Z plus C2D by gamma dash Z. And in the layer, deeper the layer, the resistance by lateral flow is properly modeled. We will check this model with actual centrifuge experiments as we go along. Now for clays, these are two models which are prevalent. One is the top is kind of a retaining wall pressure, that is 2 Cu. And as we go deeper, which is a bearing capacity problem of 9 Cu. And there is the breaking point is about 3 times the diameter. And the 9 Cu becomes operational at that point, because Cu may increase, and the lateral, if you follow the lateral shallow flow model, it will gives a higher pressure. Now there is an API model also. API stands for American Petroleum Institute, which is very much used in the offshore environment. But I feel this formula is also very good for land-based piles. This PU into D is equal to 3 times SU instead of 2 times SU, and the deeper layer is the same. There is a model in which you can follow the ladder, you can analyze the lateral loaded pile, not only for the failure load, but also for the serviceability, that means the deflections and also the bending moments. The one model is the independent spring models. Soil can be replaced by a set of independent springs. Another is the soil can be replaced by a continuum model. The continuum model offers a lot of scope, but a lot more complex when you go to 3-dimensional and also nonlinear models like plastic flow and things like that. It requires a very expensive computer software, and we are not sure about the parameters we are inputting into this. Now to expand the spring model, originally there was a proposal by Terzaghi, which is a horizontal subgradation as modulus for model the springs. Then there is also a model which can model, Terzaghi proposed that it can vary with the depth, and then which is NH into Z. Both these models suffer from one handicap, that it is linear. It doesn't take into account the non-linearity of the soil foundation system. Now the non-linearity of the soil foundation system is better modeled by a PY model, which increases the lateral, which decreases the lateral slope of this curve of PY curve is P is the lateral resistance, Y is the corresponding displacement, and the modulus decreases with as the deflection increases. Now this can be modeled. The main differential equation of flexure is like this: EI d4y by dx4 es into y, and it is a very popular differential equations, which can be solved for separate by several boundary conditions. There is also a lateral computer model, which is a continuum model, which is a constant modulus, and a variable modulus. Now there is a lot of recommendations for dry sand, wet sand, dry clay. Several authors have proposed a lot of recommendations for this modulus. Now the practical problem is there is a differential equation that I will slightly explain, but there is a modulus may change with the depth. This is common in offshore piles. And also there may be a vertical load on the pile, which is quite maybe significant and which may contribute to the increase in the lateral deflection. It's not due to the lateral load only. And the soil support, which is characterized by EXY, can vary with the depth, can vary with the deflection, and that is also nonlinear. The ideal way to this equation is solved with a number of methods like finite difference and finite element. I usually follow the finite element method, which is simpler, I feel. And this is a finite element model of this pile, laterally loaded pile. And there is a what you call displacement function. And then we derive the stiffness matrix of this pile, which can take into account the vertical load and then the lateral load and things like that. Now, the Py can vary with the depth, which can be modeled by the finite element method. Now we will come to the modeling in the experimental technique. The modeling in experimental technique is, there is a model, which is the model of a prototype. Now, there must be a linear relation between the prototype and the model. This ensures that if you do an experiment, you can go to the prototype, which is the field size, and you can say, yes, if the experimental displacement is so much, field displacement can be so much. If the experimental bending moment is so much, field bending moment is so much. There is a direct relationship with this. So in centrifuge models, we do a model, we spin the model with an acceleration of n times g, and the main thing is in the centrifuge modeling is the stresses are maintained the same. The stress is the same in the model and the prototype. So also the constitutive relationship. The force is modeled as applied load in the model by n square, and energy is modeled by the 1 by n cube. And these models will help you to simulate the field conditions in the model. The model in the, you can, if you do a model level, model measurement, you can say what is the field measure, what is the field displacement. And the energy modeling has been used by a lot of nuclear explosions and things for modeling the explosions, because you can detonate a small charge in the 1G and the centrifuge and simulate a big bomb. But that is not our interest. Our interest is to model geotechnical structures. And there are various model simulations between prototype and model. Now, what we did was a centrifuge to model a laterally loaded pile. Now, the experimental setup has got a measurement of deflections here, and you can apply a lateral load to this. And we did a dry sand experiment, and with 180 centimeters in the centrifuge, which amounts to a 9-meter pile at 50 G. It amounts to a 9-meter pile. And we had a load cell to measure the load applied. And we can, you can simulate what is the field, corresponding field load. And now the soil we used was a sandy soil, and effective size is 150 milligram, 150 micron, and uniformity coefficient is 1.5. And this is a very uniform sand. And the phi evaluated in the laboratory is about 32 degrees, and the dry density of 16 kilonewton per meter square. The pile diameter in the model is 25 millimeters. Now in the field size, it comes to 1.25 millimeter, 1.25 meters. The pile length in the centrifuge is 18 centimeter, and the field size is 9 meters. We did an experiment with the with the load applied, and we measured the displacement and measurement. The horizontal load, these are all in the prototype load, which is about 1,500 kilonewtons. It's a very huge load. And that means a lateral load of around 150 tons. And we measured a deflection of about 140 millimeters. This is actually a prototype simulation. And we have measured this in the laboratory, in the centrifuge model. Now, we have also measured the bending moments over a distance of using 12 sets of strain gauges for 2 loads, for a number of loads. And we have measured for 287 kilonewton, that is 28 tons, and 551 tons of lateral load. That is we have tried to match it in previous occasions with the Winkler model and the Hofstadter model, with not very great success, but there is a great, we actually chose these model parameters based on the measurements which made the centrifuge. With all that, even we got, with the lateral portions, we are not able to predict the bending moments and bending moments correctly. But we developed this, we now, recent times, we calculated the PY curves by the API method. The PY curves by the API method are different depths given by the nonlinear curves, which is presented here. Now, this we apply to the finite element method and match the lateral displacement. The lateral displacement, there is a API computed displacements and slightly lower than the actual displacement. The actual displacement, then over the range, the comparison is beautiful. That yes, the API model is a very sound model for sand, and we matched it with the centrifuge experiment displacements. And further, we also matched it with the bending moments. Now, bending moments measured and the what you call computed are remarkably consistent. That yes, this gives us a great confidence that the API model for sand is very good. And one can maybe you can match it slightly better by better measurement of what you call the sand properties and things like that. But the model offers us a lot of hope and a lot of confidence in predicting the lateral pile behavior of soils. Centrifuge experiments in this way has helped us a lot in having confidence in the designing prototype structures for carrying a lot of offshore loads, wind tunnel loads, or what you call windmill loads and things like that. Now I will come to another. We did a group piles experiments where we did load in this load in the direction of the piles, load perpendicular to the direction of the piles, and for 2 piles groups and 3 piles groups, measure the bending moments and also the displacements. And see the piles one behind the other, there is a great interaction between a single pile and a group of piles. We found that the front pile takes a lot of load, the rear pile takes much less load. We did this comparison with 3 piles and 2 piles. Now I'll go to the second part of the lecture where we deal with the cantilever sheet pile walls. This experiment we conducted at IIT Bombay, but the theory behind this cantilever sheet pile wall is that it fails by a rotation about a pivot. Now, commonly we will find in the textbooks and all that you take moment at about the toe and find out the depth, find out the minimum depth required for embedment in the soil, and drive by 20% more, which is yes. But because that doesn't, the argument here is you cannot have a what you call a change in the the active pressure environment and passive pressure environment on very sudden change and things like that. What we found was actually the pile really fails only by rotation. That is about a hinge. This is confirmed in the centrifuge experiments also. Now, one more thing also, how to determine this, what you call the pivot point about which it rotates. Now, the pivot point, the usual procedure is to write down the horizontal equilibrium equation and also moment equilibrium equation. It will match the horizontal displacement equilibrium, then find out the moment equilibrium, or change the depth. It is not easy to find. It takes, that's why people have resorted to assuming the pivot rotation at the tip of the pile. Now, one technique which we jointly developed with Gopal Madabushi, and that was of Cambridge University, that was that the minimization of a moment ratio. The actuating moment is MA by MR can be minimized. This is commonly used in slope stability analysis also. We say that what is MA by MR, that ensures the stability of a slope. MR is the actuating moment, resisting moment, MA is the actuating moment. Similar approach we tried here, and we found that it is quite easy to locate the, what you call the pivot point in the failure of a cantilever sheet pile wall by minimizing the MR by MA. MR is the resisting moment, MA is the actuating moment. Resisting moment is caused by the passive pressures, actuating moment is caused by the active pressures. Now this we found, and one can say that if the pile is driven to, this is a limit equilibrium equation, D by H, and 30 degrees, it gives me a depth of embedment of D, and the height of the pile is H. For 35 degrees of soil, it is 0.75, and we can, developed chart can be developed at 40 degrees, 45 degrees, and things like that. Now, similarly in clay, there is a tension crack in the top, and with which also doesn't give the tension, soil doesn't exert tension, and there will be a gap. We can work out we can find out the point of rotation by minimizing the resisting moment, actuating moment, and find out what are going to be the D by H, and it is a non-dimensional constant CD by gamma H. Now we did a centrifuge experiment to see whether the two things work. One is whether the mechanism is about rotation, about the sheet pile wall. Second is what are going to be the permissible displacement, what time, at what displacement the, what you call the passive pressures and active pressures are mobilized. So we had in the Bombay centrifuge, we did an experiment with sheet piles, and we measured the lateral displacement by putting LVDTs on the sides, and also the vertical displacement by placing LVDTs on this. And the sheet pile was modeled by an aluminum pile, and this soil was compacted clay, which a cohesion of about 30 kilonewton, 30 kilopascal, and the pile was about 88.5 meters, which gives rise to a 4.25 meter height, and then we about below the soil, the amendment was about 6.5 meters. These are the prototype dimensions. The model is 50 times less than this. Now when we did the experiment, we spun the centrifuge at a different So what kind of at G level, what happens to the displacement and things like that? This is a small G. Then when we increase the G, then the height of the wall increases and there is a greater tilt and the tension cracks develop a lot more. And the tension cracks extends, there are 2 or 3 cracks behind the wall. Then as the G increases, the wall collapses. Now we can see this model. You can't do it in 1G environment. You need a centrifuge. You have to do it at a 50G environment to show how a retaining wall fails. Now we are interested actually in the strains which gave this failure. And at a 35G, the deflections are very reasonable. And the shear strain, it is about less than 5%. 5% means the tilt is the 5 radians, that yes, the height, the displacement by the total length of the pile is about 5%. And the 5% displacement, the pile tends to fail, that we should not exceed this 5% displacement. And we should ensure that the displacements are much less than the shear strains. At 5% shear strain, the piles fail. Now this was verified for all the experiments. And the point of rotation was also very distinctly identified at these experiments. And we also verified that these points of rotation can be computed by the minimizing the resisting moment by actuating moment, and the pile actually fails like this. Now there is the regime of about stable and unstable 5% strain, that the stability of the wall is impaired. That yes, we have got to keep it at less strain, and then we see that the wall is stable. Now it is quite common to apply a factor of safety to the resisting moment by changing the Kp to Kpm, and then give a factor of safety in computing the stability of the wall. Now the stability of the wall is further impaired by the flow of water. Now if water flows from this upstream side to the downstream side, from there is a water level here, and this is and the downstream water level like this, water flows like this, and there will be a reduction, increase in the active pressures because seepage flows, the water flows downwards, and there will be a decrease in the passive resistance because water flows upwards in the other domain. In addition, there is a water pressure also acting on this. The stability of the wall could be much less. The higher for a given depth, the stability of the wall will be much less. Now this was set up by a set of equations, and resisting moment by actuating moment under the seepage conditions. When there is a seepage, and we computed the stability, the penetration of the wall required for example, at when the dry sand is about this curve, that is about d by h is equal to some 1.5 times 1.3 times for 25 degrees, d by h is equal to 1 for 30 degrees. But when there is a flow of water, when depends on the height to which the water is stored, and the stability is very much, the depth required is very high, and now we computed this, the stability for different water flow conditions, and we have given different curves, and this was published in the Madras IIT Madras conference, and which can be used for different factors of safeties and things like that. So to conclude, I must tell you that the analytical models have to be used. Engineers have to design and then use numerical models or analytical models, or however sophisticated may be, they must model the field behavior. And we have to do some verifications that yes, these are viable. Now, the lateral eroded pulse, this talk is about numerical modeling and centrifuge modeling. They complement each other because numerical model feeds into centrifuge modeling. Centrifuge modeling refines the numerical modeling technique, and all that have to be verified in the field also. With this, I thank the Bangalore chapter of the Indian Geotechnical Society for giving me this great opportunity to deliver this prestigious lecture. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. You can kindly stop share the screen, sir. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. Now to conclude this, I request our secretary, Professor Anbalgan, to propose the vote of thanks. Anbalgan, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. So it's my privilege to deliver a vote of thanks for T.S. Nagaraj Memorial Lecture. So the IGS Bangalore chapter is one of the chapter which hosts subsequently several lectures. So particularly on 2 memorial lectures, this is one of them. So we select eminent speakers. So they also kind enough to accept and deliver this. So with that, I thank Professor V.S. Chandrasekaran for accepting and delivering these lectures on this day. I also thank Chairman Professor Anantha Ramaswamy, Department of Civil Engineering, so who is actually supporting all the activities of IGS Bangalore chapter. So physically we used to use the department extensively and many people visit. So now it is not possible, but still he is actually joining with us and encouraging the occasion. So I thank you very much, sir. So I also thank all the senior members of the IGS Bangalore chapter, so who motivate the young generation and also support all our activities by joining virtually to support this event. I thank all of you, sir. So I thank all the participants. Without them, the lecture may not be successful. So there was about more than 75 people of lectures. So I thank you one and all. So we also thank especially Professor V.S. Chandrasekaran, so we joined and greeted him. So we thank one and all. Since it is a memorial lecture, there is no further discussion will be there. If anything is needed, you can approach directly to Professor Chandrasekaran. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Anbalgan. So Amla, kindly post the Google form. So we will post the Google form. All the participants kindly fill up the Google form. We will have your contact details for our records, and also for those who have given the email IDs, we will send the presentation copy as well as the recording of this lecture to all of you. Kindly fill up the Google form and share your contact details. So with this, I think we have come to the end of this today's program. On behalf of Indian Geotechnical Society Bengaluru chapter, I thank all of you who have participated in this program. So, we have Mrs. Nagaraj also who was listening to this lecture. Thank you very much, madam. We have the teacher of Professor Chandrasekaran and also the student of Chandrasekaran, Professor Gopal Madhubushi. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants, and we will conclude this today's program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Professor.